Some of you are up, and I figured I would make good use of the time because I haven't even been able to speak with you. So today's probably going to be a very intense day. Yesterday was very intense, but the first day of convention is always rough. I'm not going to lie, yesterday was rougher than normal, but everyone I think forgets that the first day of every convention is rough. There's a lot of newer people, and a lot of people eh, go to conventions all the time. You have to, as I said, get your sea legs again and figure out what you're doing. First day's always rough. I really do expect that today will go very smooth. I can only live stream for about 20-25 minutes. So if you have questions, get them in there. This is not going to be a marathon, and hopefully I'll keep myself together. It was very intense day, and I know people think I live for that kind of stuff. I mean, I enjoy the parliamentary stuff. I do not enjoy the confrontational stuff, and yeah, it was really it's been hard on me, and apparently I don't know if it's stress. I bruise really easily, but I woke up this morning and my whole lower right leg is completely bruised. Like I've been through a mangler. Like I must have hit it or been sitting uncomfortably or whatever. So I'm probably gonna have a hugely swollen leg today. It's like, oh my God. But so yeah, what an intense day. And then you get on social media and listen, I have a favor to ask of people. I know it's so easy to broad brush or be like, I don't know, if you don't agree with something, to just, I don't even know what I'm trying to say because I'm probably not very articulate right now. I haven't gotten much sleep. But for instance, I seen a bunch of people who are just really complaining about the agenda change. And just some of the things people have said, I'm like, are we at the same convention? I'm the one who made the motion to amend the agenda, but apparently I'm just a puppet of the ginger Jesus because they're all like, it's the ginger guys doing. People, do you not have more respect for me than to think I'm somebody's puppet? Yes, Michael wrote out the amended agenda. Well, I don't know if we did it as a team, but I don't move anything that I don't believe in. So let me explain the logic behind the agenda change, because so many people, the ones who before going and just being like, oh, that's terrible, and you have every right to do that, but the ones who actually came up to me and talked to me about it, it goes, okay, I'm having a real hard time understanding the logic here. And when I explained it to them, they go, oh, shit, that's reasonable. Go figure. I would hope people would know me better than that. So let me explain the major changes and why they're reasonable. You don't have to agree. We never finish LNC elections. So we moved LNC elections up before platform or bylaws. LNC elections are more important. Nearly every year we run out of time, and either the JC or the at-large ends up getting elected just by the highest vote getters who didn't actually get a majority. And you guys who supported me paid the price for this because I was removed by at-large people, 3 of them who didn't even get 40% of the vote. Yet I won on my first round with over 50%. Does that seem right to you? So I wanted to make sure that everyone who was elected to the LNC got a majority vote, no matter how many rounds it took. Okay, I think that's reasonable. In 20 and the agenda, the standard agenda had bylaws first thing, so we moved that after LNC elections, And platform after bylaws. Well, platform never got heard in 2020. 30 people worked their ass off for proposals. I was chair of that committee in 2020, and it didn't get heard. Some bylaws proposals got heard. So it was only fair, I felt, to move platform up because we got ripped off in 2020. So we moved platform off to be fair. Oh, all of a sudden that sounds reasonable, doesn't it? And honestly, some of the bylaws changes changed convention rules midstream. Do you want people who prepared to run for office or whatever to get to convention and have the bylaws changed on them at the beginning of convention? That's not fair. Bylaws should never be at the beginning. Our standard agenda has it at the beginning. That should be changed permanently. Bylaws changes go into effect immediately. It's not fair to change the ground rules when the teams are already on the field. I don't think that's an unreasonable position. If there's an emergency bylaw that needs to be passed, you can suspend the rules and vote to hear that first, with the rest of the report occurring later. So bylaws are last because they change the rules of the game. This convention should be under the rules of the game that we've all existed under for 2 years. That's not unreasonable. Now, all of a sudden, all of the angst that's been over this agenda change, now you still may not agree, but I would hope that I've at least built some kind of reputation where if I moved it, I have a good reason. I am not part of a Borg. I do not walk in lockstep with any caucus. Even Angela and I had differing votes than what the rest of the caucus did. No, Daniel, they take place immediately, not sine die. So if you were to move, let's say, I don't know, I'm just going to, this would never happen, but let's just say we elected a vice chair today. And there's a bylaws change to eliminate vice chair. It takes place that moment. So the person who was just elected, all of a sudden is no longer elected. So things do take place immediately. And one of the changes proposed by the bylaws election is changing the order of LNC elections. And it was to prevent waterfall elections. I'm not a fan of waterfall elections. If you don't know what that is, it's when somebody who doesn't win an officer position turns around and runs for at-large. It's always happened in our party. I'm not a huge fan of it, but the delegates can just choose not to vote for a waterfall candidate. So making it impossible for them to make that choice is not something I think is a good idea. Now, if there was another benefit other than restricting delegate choice, I would be in favor of it, because some people might go, oh, you're being inconsistent because you believe in term limits, and a delegate could just not vote for someone for 4 terms. But there's an added benefit to term limits. Term limits help prevent corruption. They help prevent where you're just running to keep your seat. There's side benefits to me that make the trade-off of you are limiting delegate choice worth it. Preventing waterfall elections has none of those side benefits. So even though I'm generally not a fan of waterfall elections, I'm not a fan of removing that choice from the delegates. So you don't have to agree with the agenda changes I moved, but at least now know I had a reason for them that has nothing to do with the caucus. They are parliamentary reasons, which anyone who knows me should know that I would always have a parliamentary reason. So I hope that answered the questions on the agenda. Again, you don't need to agree, But can you please stop saying that there was no logic to it and it was just like because we could? Do you think I would be part of that? If you do, and you're my friend, you don't know me. Then why are we friends if you would think I would do something like that? For instance, Angela and I voted opposite to most other Mises Caucus people when it came to letting Tony D'Orazio speak in the debate. You want to know who those debate rules were set by? Not by the Mises Caucus. They were set by the Convention Oversight Committee. So if you want to be angry at limiting candidates, be angry at them. I personally am not in favor of extreme ballot censorship in the LP. Go figure. I'm being consistent. I wanted to hear from Tony. He campaigned hard. Now, everyone knows that I've endorsed Angela, but that doesn't mean I need to shit on the other candidates. I wanted them all to have a voice that actually campaigned. Now, there were some chair candidates, not going to mention any names, that didn't campaign hard. I didn't feel so bad there. But Tony put in the work. I saw him at conventions. I voted for him to have a voice. It didn't win. But I didn't walk in lockstep. But now, here's where I'm going to have a really hard time keeping it together. So John Wilford and I had a real long talk. For whatever reason, he didn't have any tellers or had one or two tellers. I had a whole teller team with me. And we had a long talk, and I told him, there was nothing personal here today. Yeah, I still have something against him for what he did in November, but that was November. That was 50 controversies ago. I am over it. There's nothing personal between us. He and I talked for a long time at lunch. We are working together today as a team. I told him I do not care about the title of convention secretary. I just don't. I am not looking to unseat him as convention secretary. I don't care about titles. I'm going to be sitting with him today, and neither of us care who has the title. I gave him my teller team. I trained them because they were, expecting that there probably would be a motion to replace John. I have no desire to humiliate John. None. And if a motion was made and succeeded, my full intent was to ask him to stay up there with me. Damon, I disagreed with the method. I was a dissenting voice, but I'm not going to get into that. But that just goes to show we don't walk as lockstep. We don't walk in lockstep. So I had a long talk with John because he was concerned, obviously. I'm not looking to hurt him. So we're working together today. In exchange, I gave him my teller team. Now, they're human beings. Obviously, I can't give it, but I asked them if they would be willing to volunteer even if I wasn't convention secretary and I was up there assisting John. And they said yes. So like a lot of this talk that's going on, you don't know. Did I have to do that? I could have sat there and enjoyed the show without having tellers prepared. And you want to know who would have suffered? Everybody. I want this convention to run smoothly. I'm not willing to sacrifice a convention running smoothly for some kind of like petty, petty base, because it would be base. It would be satisfying a lower nature that we all have. I wasn't willing to sacrifice the convention so I could sit there and get some kind of not entirely Christian satisfaction out of seeing somebody else fail? No, I'm not going to do that. I believe every human being is created in the image of God, and if I can help, I'm going to help. The thing with the tables, that was a decision of the Convention Oversight Committee. That was not my decision. That was not John's decision. People make mistakes. They're not going to be behind the teller's table today. And the lady who got on the mic, people brought it up earlier. She apologized to me. So I'm asking everyone to please let it go. I've accepted her apology. There was a lot going on there that I don't want to talk about because it divulges personal things. So I've let it go. So I ask everyone else to please forgive her and let it go. She found me immediately and apologized, and we hugged it out. Sometimes people are going through things and they lose their shit. She wasn't drunk. I'm sorry, she wasn't drunk. Can we please just show people some grace? I'm the one she's attacked. I've forgiven her. So please, can we all just let that go, please? But here's what I wanted to show you guys. So last night at the Mises Bash, I'm going to tell you a funny story, and then I really do got to run. I was awarded the highest award that they give at the Mises Bash last night. I was awarded the 2022 Take Human Action Award. And here's what's funny. One of the contenders apparently was Ron Paul, and I beat Ron Paul for it. And that's like, oh my God, that's fucking amazing. But here's what's funny. So obviously the Take Human Action Award is for people who do stuff, that do a lot of stuff. And I wasn't there to receive the award when they called my name. I wasn't there because I was taking human action elsewhere. I was helping John Wilford count tokens. So I was helping my opponent so that we would make sure convention ran smooth today. So that the irony of winning the award for doing shit, for getting shit done, basically, I wasn't there to receive the award in person because I was getting shit done. But I completely lost it. Like, it means a lot. Sorry, I have makeup on. I don't want to lose my shit, but I'm very, very grateful for that, and I will treasure it forever. So I need to pack up and get down to convention. I'm on the 8th floor, and I thought that would be good because it's closer and I can get down there quicker. No, when it's getting close to convention, there's like 20 something floors. By the time it gets to the 8th floor, it's packed. It's packed. So you have to wait sometimes 10 rotations of the elevator. Whitney's not feeling well from what I hear. I don't know. It was obvious yesterday she was struggling. I don't know whether it's actual sickness or just stress. Whatever disagreements we have, Whitney is a human being, and that had to be a tremendous amount of stress. So I don't know. I just know she's not feeling well. I talked to her after convention to offer some kind words on something that was getting a little bit out of control, but I knew her intentions weren't bad. There were people who were completely abusing point of information. Point of information is not for you to give information, is for you to ask for information. And that got out of control. But I know why Whitney didn't shut it down, because earlier, there was a removal motion and she did not want to look like she was gabbling through people. We don't have to agree with somebody all the time to realize that not everything they do is bad. And I did not raise any kinds of points of order about her letting those go because I know her intentions were good. So I talked to her after the convention to tell her that, listen, I know you were doing this in order to try to appear very fair on that point, and you didn't want to gabble through people. Um, but could we maybe make an announcement in the beginning for people not to abuse that because it was really getting out of control? But I made a choice not to raise a point of order or anything on that because I know that she wasn't letting them go in bad faith. She was letting them go because she felt she needed to let people talk. But it was starting to get really, really disruptive to the convention. Like in the middle of votes and shit. Like, people, unless you're being prevented from voting, you don't interrupt a vote. You just don't. That's like bad, bad, bad delegate. Don't do that. Particularly a counted vote. The tellers all have to start again. It just is utter confusion. Okay, I've really got to go. My main point, I wanted to talk about the agenda because it just seemed like there was just a lot of angst on Facebook over that without knowing, like, few people bothered to ask me why I made that motion. And the ones who did walked away going, well, that you actually had a reasonable explanation. But mostly I wanted to share this with everybody because I was super honored by this. And I wanted to let the people who know, I don't know how the vote for I know, like, I think the organizers came together, all the state organizers, to vote for who would get this. I'm really not sure how it works. I'm not part of leadership of Mises Caucus. I don't know the inner workings. Um, but I wasn't there to receive it. And I want anyone who was involved in this to know how very much it means to me and, express publicly in some way my thanks. So that was, the main purpose of this stream. As you can, I am losing my voice a little. I mean, I am emotional, and that's one reason why my voice sounds a little odd, but I'm also losing it a little bit. So I need to go get the teller team set up because we're going into elections, hopefully, but you never know. There could be motions to suspend the rules. I know a lot of people get irritated by that, but the convention belongs to the delegates and they're allowed to do things that annoy everybody else. I mean, if you don't have the votes, you're not going to win a suspension of the rules. Um, it's people's right to do it. I know it can be annoying, but it's their right. So anyway, love you all. And I'll give you an update later if I can.